Hi, gorgeous sisters. Today, embracing the beauty of spring and all of the work that you've done, I'm encouraging you to allow yourself to dive in to the freedom and the free hand of almost spirit within you in your writing. So, in order to embrace allowing what's deep inside of here to come through here to your hand, your voice, whatever source and point of transportation that you'd like to use. Today we're going to talk pen. I am going to encourage you to allow yourself to release, be free. No judgment. Nobody's around. So this kind of exercise that we're going to do next is you gotta be somewhere where, if it's in your closet, okay, but nobody can interrupt. Allow everybody to kind of park it for half an hour and have a little bit of space. You're going to be turning the this video on and off, and you need to have easy access to our playlist on Spotify. So the Sistas at the Campfire, because we're going to resource 3 of those songs, and they're at the top of the list. They should be right there, but I will tell you the name of them so you can then go play them and then come back to this video. So confusing, I know. And on top of all that confusion, I would like you to have a pen or pencil, whatever you like to write with, and at least 2 different colors of highlighters, markers, or something that you enjoy, like kind of like look, and it can be anything. It can be pencil crayons, it can be pastels, it can be markers, highlighters, whatever you want, just some color. And yeah, I think I think that's it. So as we get started, I want you to just take a moment and think about your boat. Build your boat. Build your boat. How has that boat been going? What's on your boat? What does it look like? What furniture do you have on it? What did you choose to bring? You know, I found the biggest component for me wasn't so much like, did I have fluffy white pillows and comfy throws, although they're very important to me. What I felt was most important when I was building my boat was I looked at it as a fresh start to how I wanted to show up in the world. So I had this history, as we all do, and there was something about the freedom of stepping on something that was floating in water. It wasn't attached to land, and the freedom of creating this thing that was just mine. And it did not negate my responsibilities. It did not negate even things I was or what I accomplished, or sometimes it didn't even matter about where I was going. It was just about where I was, where I am right now. And it just allowed me to create, because we innately are creative species. Like we want to, and even if in my case I'm great at stick people, and that's as far as my creative goes when it comes to art and drawing and everything. However, I've also judged myself and said I'm only a stick person drawer. And in different times when I've allowed myself to have some freedom and float in my boat, I'm amazed at some of even the doodling that I can do, the different colors that I put together, playing with different mediums. So it's this allowing and getting on that boat, throwing off hats, throwing off labels, throwing off titles that I've hung myself on and hung my hat on, and it's anew. And so the big thing that I have gotten very excited about when I talk about my boat is my attitude, my energy, how I show up. And I really, really, really stepped back and said, how do I want to stinking show up as a parent? Huge, 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 huge. Can I change that? Because I've kind of done this thing and told my kids that this is how it is. Yep, and I did. Was it hard? Yeah, it was hard, and they resisted. But I started really, really resonating with my boat and floating down the river. And when I felt like I was going upstream and I would hit turbulence or rocks or the shore, it never felt good. Floating down the river feels good. So what I'd like you to do right now is to just take a pause and write out what your boat feels like. Just words. It can be sentences, it can be anything. You can do it on, you could put your boat written in the middle of your page, and what kind of stems from it, and feelings, and what it all means to you. So just take a pause, and pause right there and say, peace out, Andrea. I'm going to go just elaborate. Now, hopefully you already have elaborated and you've talked. Just what else has come up? Feelings. See you in a minute. Hi. All right. So you have your boat. Now what you're going to do, or I'm going to ask that you do, is I'm going to prompt you to, again, free write where you're at with how you respond to this song. And what I want you to think about when you're listening to this song, I want you to dance. Just whatever it feels like, flow. But I want you to try to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that you're dancing with your great-grandmother. You see, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, our great-great-grandmothers, and way further back, pieces of those women are in us. They're in us. And even if there's shit that's been passed along, they were too our age, hopefully. Actually, my great-grandmother did not make it to 53. She died at 39 with a newborn baby, and her husband was a doctor, and they hadn't developed it. The penicillin was just on the precipice of being offered to us, and he couldn't get the medicine. He knew the medicine was there, but he couldn't get it, and she died. And my grandmother talks about that a lot, and it's very interesting. And yet my grandmother's 101 and a half. So I didn't get to meet her, but I often think about who she was, the pains she went through, the miscarriages that she had, the struggles that she had, the joys she had, the elations, she was a nurse, and what her dreams were and her goals. And I'm sure you have a story. And if you don't have a story, or you don't know your great-grandmother's story, knowing that she's in you, just see what comes up. So the song that you are going to go into our Spotify playlist is Bare Naked Ladies. And it's the song It's All Been Done Before. It's all been done before. It's a fun little song. And I want you to think about the words that are coming out. And I want you to imagine you're dancing with your great-grandmother. And then, once that song's done, I'd like you to go to your journal, and I'd like you to take a moment, take a couple breaths, and I'd like you to think about, what does your grandmother want you to know? What would she tell you if she could? What words of wisdom are there? What has she lived? What does she see in you? Yeah, have fun. Okay, so now you're back, and you're back with, after you've danced with your great-grandmother. How wonderful. I look forward to, or if you choose to share any of this, it would be lovely and wonderful. And yeah. The next song, whether you're a fan of this guy or not, this song keeps coming up, and all three of these songs, interestingly, perfectly peculiar, they came into my lap in a row, and I said, oh boy, we got to use these. So the next song is Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, and I want you to think about, and maybe before this song, if you can use your phone for this, you can use a mirror. I'd like you to just focus on your eyes. Get really, really close and just quietly stare deep into the pupils of your eyes. And this is the most amazing exercise. I did this. This was, interestingly enough, I was just having a conversation last night with my son's girlfriend, and she said, you know, Andrea, I will go, her mom died, and a year, 2 years ago, and she said, I will look in the mirror, and she said, for the longest time when I was brushing my teeth, I couldn't look in the mirror, and now I stare and I look in the mirror as I'm brushing my teeth, and I look deep into my eyes. Now, she was talking about a few other things, but it brought back a moment in time in my life when, in the quiet early morning, as I was brushing my teeth, I would get very close, nose to my mirror, and I would talk to my eyes, which I felt was my soul, the pupils, and this is really where I began to start saying, what do you want me to know? What do you want me to know? What's my next step? Because we do have those answers. So, those eyes, looking in them, your next song is The Man in the Mirror. And I know it's man, but don't get caught up in all the wordies of this. It's you in the mirror, human in the mirror. Listen to his words. They're good. They're good, they're good, they're good. And while you're thinking about those words and you're dancing, just let the song, let the words take you away. I'd like you to think about this. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Gloria Steinem. I love this because the reality is, it is so true. Because once we accept the truth, once we own the truth, once we own where we are in our life and what we have done and what our part is, and also what our part is in making change in our lives and owning our lives to change them, it will piss us off because I'm mad. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to have to do the work. I don't want to have to apologize. I want to be mad. I want to be frustrated. So with that in mind, you're dancing to the man in the mirror, the you in the mirror. And my question to you is, what sets you free? What sets you free? So listen to your music, or look at your eyes. Take a moment. Who is that girl? Take a dance with girl in the mirror, and then answer for 5 minutes or so. What sets you free? What floats you? What's easeful? What is the dream? What is the desire? What is the joy? What is the love? Have fun. Have fun. Mute me. Cut me off. Come back in 10 minutes. Okay, so now you're back. This is our last song. And this song was interesting as well, because I think it was written and meant for a love romantic relationship. But again, perfectly peculiar. I'm listening to these songs and I am not thinking about that when I'm listening to the song, and I'm just dancing away. And I just actually put it on just before I got on here with you guys, and I was just like, oh my God, I just want to sway. And you know what? I've always been very conscious of my dancing. I am an awkward dancer. I am Elaine off Seinfeld, I am not that dance. I am not a dancer. I am not fluid. My mother put me in ballet just because she wanted me to be in ballet, and I did not do well. Yeah. So, part of judgment and part of self-compassion has been a practice for me to dance and to allow myself to freely move about and not worry about anything. The reality is, a lot of times I am by myself, and that's my place right now. But allowing myself to be free and flow and just embrace the music is part of me floating down that river. And those moments where I can just soothe myself and just be at ease. So this last song, can you embrace it that way? So this song, I'd like you to think about you talking to her, you talking to your sweet her deep inside of you. And I think I've said to you before, I talked to Andrea when she was around 10, 12. It was just a transitioning time for a lot of us, right? And it was an awkward and an uncomfortable and a lonely time. And so that's the little one that I dance with. And I'd like you to think about her and the words that the beautiful Tina Turner sings to you. And she sings it. Sing it with her. Sing it to her. Just get into it and just love that sweet little you inside of you. So that song, your last song on your list, is Let's Stay Together. It's so good. It's so good. Have so much fun with it. But before you go, because I am leaving you now, officially leaving you now, what I'd encourage you to do is to do like my poster. So this is where your colored markers and stuff come in. So you do your sheet, and in the middle I wrote for her. And then you just rhyme off what comes from you after your dance, after you're thinking of her, sweet little her, mothering her, showing up for her, letting her speak, letting her be heard, letting her be seen.